What's interesting is that compassion does take many forms, right? Compassion can take the form of material objects, it can take the form of money, it can take the form of action and care. But oftentimes, being compassionate can take the form of just Hey, what's up? It's Jackie, and I just wanted to make a quick video on empathy because it kind of seems as if when we need it most, it fails to reveal itself on how it works, right? So what is empathy beyond imagination and feeling and compassion, right? Because imagination is accessing others' worlds, it's accessing their perspectives, right? And feeling is what allows you to mentalize and understand where someone else is at, right? To meet them on their level. That is the importance of feeling. And of course, compassion is arguably the most important aspect of empathy, because compassion is how your empathy towards someone else gets access, right? That is what makes your empathy accessible. Compassion. It's very obvious, right? It's very obvious when we think about other people, but sometimes it's not as obvious, and sometimes we fail to be empathetic towards ourselves. When we apply this to ourselves, we fail to look at the nuanced aspects of what it means, what empathy really is, because of course we don't need imagination, because we already know how our world is. That's arguably our primary way of being, right, is in our own worlds. And feeling is something that we do so deeply already about our own problems, about our own situations. But oftentimes we fail to give ourselves compassion. And again, this is what makes empathy accessible, whether to other people or yourselves. What's interesting is that compassion does take many forms, right? Compassion can take the form of material objects, it can take the form of money, it can take the form of action and care. But oftentimes, being compassionate can take the form of just understanding. And just as we have a craving for food, for safety, we have a craving to feel understood. So just really listening and understanding and really being and creating a non-judgmental zone, oftentimes that's what people crave. And to be able to give that to them, to give that compassion, that form of compassion to them, it's what makes your empathy accessible. Not to say that empathy without compassion isn't empathy, because there's still value in imagination, there's still value in feeling, because that is what connects ourselves to humanity. That's what connects ourselves to our means of understanding, because the language that we have in our own heads, that we use on the daily, isn't ours. It's a shared type of symbolic way of understanding the world, right? And we can't forget that. The point I'm trying to make ultimately is that to make it accessible to you and to others, you have to be compassionate. You have to, feel that craving of being understood, because how often do you seek to understand yourself? It's so funny because this is such a deep craving to be heard, to be understood, yet oftentimes we don't take too much effort to understand ourselves. And this is what I am inviting you to do, without making this video too heavy and without making it too intense. I invite you to share some compassion with yourselves and with others, because we do have a deep sense of empathy. I do believe that we are inherently very empathetic, but it's not always accessible to yourselves or to others when we forget to be compassionate. Okay, so with that, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you later. Peace.